Taliban's current actions have not matched up to their earlier promises of moderate rule, as minorities continue to live in the shadow of fear in Afghanistan. The hardline Islamist regime has failed to protect minorities within their territory, as Shia Hazaras were brutally targeted once again. Do Hazaras have any future in the war-torn nation? Join us as we analyze the ground situation. These disturbing images of upturned tables and benches and the damaged classrooms give some insight into the endless pain and suffering that the Hazara community in Afghanistan experiences. The Hazara students of Kaj Tuition Center, a private educational institute in Kabul, were taking mock exams in crowded classrooms when a bomb ripped through the building, killing dozens of students, a majority of whom were female. According to reports, the assailant shot at guards outside the educational facility before entering the classroom where he detonated the bomb. This was the second assault on a school this year in the Dasht-e-Barchi neighborhood of the Afghan capital, which is home to a large Hazara population. The horrible tragedy is the most recent in a string of attacks in regions where the minority Shiite community calls home, another example of the Taliban's failure to protect minorities. The explosion triggered outrage, and leaders and activists from around the world have decried the incident. The United Nations Security Council members have emphasized the importance of apprehending and prosecuting those responsible for these terrorist acts in Afghanistan. India has also condemned the continued targeting of students at educational institutes in Afghanistan. The violent persecution of the Afghan Shia community goes back more than a century, but has reached unprecedented levels in the last 1 year under the Taliban. The targeting of Hazara houses of worship, schools, and other public places has intensified since the Taliban took control last year. In the last 1 year, the Islamic State of Khorasan has claimed responsibility for 13 attacks against Hazaras. Approximately 700 people have been killed or injured in these attacks. Last month, the Hazara Inquiry, an inquiry into the situation of the Hazara community in Afghanistan and Pakistan, run by British parliamentarians and experts, published its reports on the dire situation of the Hazara community in Afghanistan. The reports revealed that the religious and ethnic minority are at serious risk of genocide at the hands of the Islamic State Khorasan and the Taliban. Many Hazara Shias migrated to Pakistan in earlier decades, hoping to find a safe haven there, only to be targeted ruthlessly by the Lashkar-e-Jhangvi terrorist group. Anti-Shia outfits in Pakistan, like Lashkar-e-Jhangvi and Sipa-e-Sahaba, have been continuously targeting Shias in Pakistan. According to a report by the International Forum for Rights and Security, Pakistan has witnessed the killing of approximately 4,847 Shias in incidents of sectarian violence between 2001 and 2018. Shias have nowhere to go as they are threatened on both sides of the border.
The only porous border that remains is the border with Pakistan. Given the fact that anti-Shia hatred has originated in Pakistan, it was very unlikely that Pakistan would be a safe haven for the Hazaras.
The Hazaras are one of many ethnic groups in Afghanistan and are also one of the larger minority groups in neighboring Pakistan. The Hazaras' ideologies mostly align with the Shiite Muslim community and are frequently targeted by the Taliban, who follow a stricter version of Sunni beliefs of Islam. With the re-establishment of the Islamic Emirate in Afghanistan, the future looks bleak for the persecuted communities in the country. "38-year-old Sri Lankan Tamil tea picker Amasi Gita plucks tea leaves in the Norwood Tea Estate. Nestled in the hills of Sri Lanka's central province, Norwood is home to almost 100 tea pickers like Geeta. For many, this is their only option to earn an income. According to Sri Lanka's Statistics Department, the worst economic crisis in decades and rampant inflation have caused food prices to rise by 93.7%. However, in Norwood, the basic pay rate for tea workers has remained the same. Geeta has been the sole breadwinner since her husband passed away 4 years ago. Geeta is responsible for childcare and cannot leave Norwood to seek better opportunities elsewhere, even if any were to exist.
பொருளாதார பிரச்சனையால் என்னுடைய பிள்ளைங்கள் படிப்பு நிலவரங்கள் ரொம்ப பாதிக்கப்பட்டிருக்கு. மற்றபடி பொருளாதார வீட்டு செலவு சாமானத்துக்காக சாப்பிட அப்படிலாம் நிறைய கஷ்டத்தில். அதனால் இங்கே வேலையும் ஒழுங்கான வேலைகள் இல்லாத ஒரு காரணத்தினால பிள்ளைங்களை படிக்க வைக்க சிரமத்தில் இருக்கும்.
Sri Lanka's economic crisis has affected all members of society, but the Tamil community in the country has been hit particularly hard. Sri Lankan Tamils, the largest ethnic minority in the island nation, account for about 12% of the population. The Tamils are still struggling to recover from the decades-long civil war that lasted until 2009, and which claimed around 100,000 lives. Any progress the ethnic minority has made since 2009 has been washed away by the current economic crisis. Dozens of poor Sri Lankans have fled to southern parts of India over the past few months. In order to make ends meet, many Tamil children in Sri Lanka have been forced to drop out of school and seek employment. 16-year-old Kanagaraj, whose mother also works as a tea picker, was one of many who was forced to drop out of school. He had been doing well academically and wanted to continue, but doing so was no longer practical.
படிக்க ஆசை தான், ஆனால் வீடு கொஞ்சம் சின்ன வீடு தான். வீடு இன்னொரு வீடு கட்டினா அது ஒழுகுது. அதனால நான் ஸ்கூலை விட்டு நின்றுட்டேன். இங்கிட்ட அம்மாவுக்கு சுகம் இல்லை, வருமானம் குறைவு, அம்மாவுக்கு சம்பளமும் இருக்காது ஒரு சில நேரத்தில். அப்பாவும் சில நேரத்தில் தான் காசு அனுப்புவார், இல்லாட்டி காசு அனுப்ப மாட்டார்.
The South Asian island nation of 22 million people has been facing the worst economic crisis in 7 decades, where inflation touched 69.8% in September of 2022, up from 64.3% a month earlier. Food prices continue to be the most affected by inflation, rising to 93.7%, while prices of non-food items have risen 50.2%. The World Bank estimates that Beijing's lending, which has funded costly projects from ports to a stadium, totals approximately $7 billion USD, or 12% of Sri Lanka's $63 billion external debt. Japan has loaned the country $3.5 billion USD, while India has provided around $1 billion USD in loans. Years of economic mismanagement combined with the COVID-19 pandemic have left Sri Lanka in its worst economic crisis since its independence from Britain in 1948, causing the nation to default on its sovereign debt. Unfortunately, it is the common people in Sri Lanka who suffer the most. Despite foreign aid, for many, it is difficult to see a way out of this crisis.